I'm upset. No disrespect, respectfully. But disrespectfully, it's disrespect. Don't be disrespectful. Those vile, disgusting Spartans. Poor little bro, them. And I'ma tell them where I'm at. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus. The other state. And of course, as always, I'm upset.
Maize Blue Nation, it's Tom Brady. I co-founded Autograph with one mission in mind: change the fan experience for the better. That's why I'm excited to announce the release of a new app that recognizes the biggest Michigan fans. The Autograph Fandom app gives you access to the best Michigan content, fan challenges, and exclusive rewards for diehard Wolverines, all for doing the things you already do, like listening to this podcast. Head over to the Apple App Store and search for Autograph Rewarding Fans and download today.
Good evening, good people, children, or boys and girls, children of all ages, men and women, all that. Michigan just got their 1,000th win, first to do so. First of all, let's celebrate that. That's not some small feat. The first program in FBS to 1,000 wins. This is in the FBS that includes schools like Notre Dame, includes the other state, includes Alabama. The list goes on and on. USC. I'm just trying to think of some traditional powers, right? And Michigan, of all of those teams, stands atop the mountaintop. Be sure to hit the like and share button. Comment below. We're going to talk about it. And with all that said, this may have been the worst game that Michigan has played collectively this season. I am not going to panic. There's no reason to panic. Obviously, Maryland is a good football team. They're not great by any means. Mike Locksley has done a good job in his time at Maryland. Josh Gaddis, obviously, I was ready to get all over him. Pause, but he, called a halfway decent game. I can't be mad at that. But in the end, it was Jesse Minter, it was Kenneth Grant, and Mike Sanderstill that won this game for Michigan. On maybe what would have been the biggest drive for Maryland. Michigan had 3 straight excellent defensive plays, 2 of them by Kenneth Grant, sacking Tagovailoa twice, I believe, or the first time forcing a bad throw and then getting the sack the second time for sure. And then from the shadows of his goalpost, he throws an interception that Mike Sanderstill comes up with. Mike Sanderstill once again gets to wear the turnover buffs. Shout out to Mikey. That said, and I see the comments coming in, Grant is absolutely a beast, 1,000%. Let's talk a little bit about the offense, because the offense and JJ McCarthy in particular left things to be desired. By the way, if you saw me this week, I still had JJ in my top 5 for the Heisman race. That's all done. JJ's solidly outside of the top 5. We cannot be delusional about that any further. These last 2 games have firmly removed him from that conversation. The first one, not even because of his doing, but because of the lack of bites at the apple that Sharon Moore gave him against Penn State. This week, though, I'm firmly placing the blame on JJ and his decision-making. Not only the decision-making, but the placement of some throws in this game. JJ's out of the Heisman race. I'm done talking about it. This will be his 2nd straight week, 3rd straight week, starting with Purdue, if we're being honest, without a touchdown pass. Did he have a touchdown pass last week? I don't believe he did. Either way, JJ McCarthy out of the Heisman race. Let's stop talking about that, because that's not what's important. What's important, though, is that JJ is better than he was today next week, because if he plays like this next week, there will be problems. And that's not hyperbole. That nothing hyperbolic about what I'm saying. The other state's defense is better than they were last year. There's no way around it. As Michigan fans, we can sit here and crack jokes and make fun, which I will do, by the way. That said, everything says they're better. On paper, they're better. Personnel wise, they're about the same. Maybe even a little personnel wise, they're about the same. But in terms of what they're getting out of those guys, completely different. They're better. No way around it. We came into this game anyway, one of two teams in FBS allowing less than 10 points per game. Guess who the other team was? The other state. We leave this game after giving up 24 to Maryland. And I get it. We were on the road. I get it. Maryland's no pushover, but it is Maryland. And we have championship aspirations. The product today did not look like a product that would win the national championship. Now, what I will say is that this game today gave us that sort of adversity that we will need going forward, right? We needed to be in a game like this. And some people can point to the Penn State game, but that game was really never really in doubt. And I'm not even saying that this game was in doubt, but Maryland did have the ball twice with the chance to tie or take the lead. And actually they had the ball more than that, but those final two drives, obviously, before the interception, they could have taken the lead if they go down and score a touchdown on that drive. Then after the safety, of course, we know what happens, and the game's in essence over. But this was not easy. I'm going to get to the comments, and then we'll talk some more stats from this one. One Big Bucks fans, they will be the first to 1,000 two times after the past two and current seasons are vacated. Another delusional guy, but whatever. Feel the way you want to feel. I don't care. In fact, by the way, I'm embracing this, and I told you guys you should do the same. I'm embracing the villain role. We are the villain, sure, but beat us. You got to beat us. We'll be the villain. You be the good guys, right? But if you don't win, then so what? I don't care. Whatever. A play when the receiver in the end zone was held, no call. I guess it goes both ways. It does go both ways. Whatever. Like, I'm not even little plays like that. That's not the problem. Barnhart should not be playing. By the way, I tweeted this. If you followed me on Twitter, you saw this. Carson Barnhart on a play that JJ actually threw an incompletion, but Carson Barnhart was ran by like he was standing still, and the guy still got a good hit on JJ. Carson Barnhart should not be protecting anybody's blind side, let alone JJ McCarthy. He is not good at his job. I don't know where the hype came from in the preseason. I don't know why he's the starting right tackle. But of course, after the injury to Hinton and Ladarius Henderson not suiting up for this one, then they moved Carson Barnhart over to left tackle. Big mistake. And he was just getting the doors blown off. And that might be one of the reasons that Michigan ran the ball like they did, although that happened very late. So there's no excuse. Carson Barnhart should not be the blind side tackle, though. I will say that unequivocally. We can't let OSU know all of our deeds. What are you talking about, bro? They watch the game too. They have professional people watching the game too. Like, if they didn't see what we saw, by the way, then those people need to be fired. And trust me, they saw what we saw. They're going to see it after they break down the film. They're going to see it. But either way, Michigan just needs to correct these things. That's the point. All right. Deets. Roman, no catches in 2 games, regardless of injuries. We are in trouble trying to create plays. Roman actually did have a catch in this game. He caught the only pass he caught in this game, the first one, and the only one he caught. He got hurt. He was out. So there's that. When did I say we cheated? I don't know who said anything about that. There must be a comment for the commenters. BS call on the intentional grounding. I don't think so, by the way. The intentional grounding, I mean, in that moment, maybe you can, swallow your whistle pause, but it wasn't a BS call. The ball was nowhere near the receiver. He was at least 10 yards away from that ball. Whether or not he threw it in this direction, sure. He didn't, by the way, the referee came out and said, although the quarterback broke the pocket. He didn't even break the pocket. He dropped straight back. He threw but he was afraid of getting sacked. He threw a ball that wasn't close to the receiver. I don't even know if he saw the receiver. He threw it in that direction, but it was not close. That was not a BS call. Now, you can say, and I probably would too, because I don't want the referees deciding games. I wouldn't have made that call. Sure, I'll be fair and say that. Whatever. Guy, calm down. This game was close last year against Maryland, and it was at Maryland without Roman, our top receiver. Sure. That doesn't take away the things that Michigan was doing wrong, the things that Michigan was doing bad. By the way, I am not panicking. By the way, any Michigan fan should not panic. These are all correctable errors. I'm simply saying we can't play like we played today and expect to win next week. That's it. If anybody disagrees with that, raise your hand. Let's talk about it, because you're being a bit ridiculous. At Antoine, let me see what Antoine's got to say. I know Antoine is super. This was nothing. People have unrealistic expectations of these. Like, every game is supposed to be perfect. If you play any type of sports, Now, it's not about being perfect. I want to be perfectly clear. It's not about being perfect. It's about being clean, though. It's about playing well. They didn't do that for good chunks of this game. There's no way around it. Again, J.J. McCarthy, 12 of 23, 141 yards, 0 touchdowns again, and an interception. And by the way, that interception could have been 2 or 3 interceptions. We're not even talking about what it could have been. We're just talking about what he actually did. He threw that interception where he looked nowhere but at his tight end in the red zone. Like, everybody's not watching him, or like nobody was watching him, and threw it straight to the defender. All the guy had to do was reach up, interception. So, by the way, that took points off the board. We were up 23-10 at that time, about to go into halftime. We scored that touchdown. The score is 30-10. A whole different way that Maryland has to play. Instead, they don't have to press because we didn't put that scoreboard pressure on them. You understand? Like, scoreboard pressure is a defense too. If we put that scoreboard pressure on them, there's nothing we have to worry about in terms of them running the ball. Although that wasn't a huge worry anyway, but we know for a fact that they have to throw this thing to try to get back in the game, because they are in essence down 3 scores. It's very simple. It's football 101, but I will acquiesce that there was nothing to be worried about. Los Angeles again. JJ looked terrible last year against Illinois, but was fine at Ohio State. I mean, that's fair, bro. Like, by the way, against Illinois, he made a big throw in that game. So he looked better in the Illinois game, if you ask me, going into the other state game. But I mean, it still doesn't excuse this performance. What are we trying to do? What are we trying to say? Like, because JJ has looked bad before and then turned it on in another game, that it's okay? That because he's looked bad before, looked bad before and then was able to play better again, that this sort of thing can't affect the next game? By the way, now, this is 2 games where JJ has been less than impressive. Again, I acquiesce, or 3 games if you guys want to throw in the Purdue game. I'm not one. I thought he played well in the Purdue game. He just didn't throw any touchdowns, but whatever. But I'm not even going to blame him for the Penn State performance. As I said at the beginning of this, that was all on the play calling. By the way, some of this was on the play calling. I didn't like the 3rd down run where they ended up punting the ball. Like, I wasn't a fan of that. There were plenty of calls that I wasn't a fan of in this game. But JJ has to be better than he was today to win next week. That's the point. My only point is JJ can't play like he played today and expect a different result, or expect the same result against the other state. Everybody agrees with that, right? Grant will be all over McCord, not worried. I believe that. Go Blue from Louisiana. Shout out to Ashton in Louisiana. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. Share the stream. Guys, why would we play our best knowing OSU is going to take a look at how we played? It's going to leave them confused. Trust me when I say that. um, all right. So I'm with you on leaving things in the playbook, right? Not showing everything. I believe in that, by the way, right? 1000%. However, trust me, they didn't go out and play like this on purpose. They called the plays they called with the trying to be better, right? They wanted those plays to be successful. They didn't go out and say, yo, let's call an unsuccessful offensive or let's have an unsuccessful offensive day. They didn't do that. They may have said, hey, let's keep some things so that we can show the other state something different. I 1000% believe that, but they surely didn't say, let's go out here and make it close. I don't believe that 1 second. For one, when you ask a quarterback to start throwing when he hasn't thrown all game, it's not an easy deal. Michigan has to warm them up with easier passes before they dial up hard passes. I don't know, man. This is soft. That's soft, bro. Everybody in college, you think every quarterback goes out there and needs 2-3 yard passes to get going? No. People come out the gate with a bomb, bro. Like, I understand from one perspective saying, he's cold or something like that, but he wasn't necessarily cold. It wasn't like he didn't. Oh no, he threw the ball, like I said, 23 times in this game. He just wasn't effective. By the way, the pass where he had Cornelius Johnson, who should have just walked into the end zone if that ball is placed in the right place or placed anywhere where it should have been. That's a walk-in touchdown. He threw it behind the guy because JJ always tries to put it on the receiver instead of giving them any leeway to run under a football. Now, granted, I'm not saying he does that all the time. He doesn't do that 100% of the time. However, that is his preferred method, and it does not work in situations like that. In situations where a guy his momentum is taking him across the field one way, you try to throw it to where he is obviously not going to be there when the ball gets there. You need to throw it to where he's gonna be, but I digress. He's injured. They didn't run the ball. They did not. It was one time JJ on a read option was gonna keep it himself. He kept it. Wasn't successful because he didn't read the correct read. The read was very obvious, by the way. You read the guy crashing, the guy crashed, JJ kept it. I don't know why. It's inexplicable, but whatever. It's okay. Get that title, and JJ really does need to come back as a senior, which I'm not against seeing. I'm not against seeing that either. I think JJ probably should come back as a senior. Let's not shit ourselves just yet. Harbaugh and Campbell will work in. Sharon did well, playbook, blah, blah. Yeah, I think Sharon Moore has been thrust into a position that not everybody can handle. So far, he's undefeated in this position. Sharon Moore has been the head coach for 3 football games this season. He is 3-0. This one wasn't an easy game to call. I get it. He was on the road last week, the same, and he ended up winning both of those games. More power to him. I'm saying it has to tighten up for next week. That's it. OSU don't even score that many points. Okay. I swear some of these comments are crazy, bro. So would you have said before this game that Maryland was going to get 24 points? I wouldn't have. I don't think any Michigan fan would have said, oh, Maryland's going to get 24 in this game. Nope. Wouldn't have done it. And I think that the other state is more capable offensively of getting 24 points against Michigan than Maryland is. And Maryland did it. So I'm not going to go in there and think for a second that they can't get 24 points. But again, to each their own. JJ don't bring it next week. It's going to get ugly. 32 straight runs ain't cutting it next week. Definitely. Well, I'm not going to say that because they are soft. One thing about the other state is they are not the toughest bunch in the world, but I do think things need to tighten up. I will acquiesce to that. Since the Triple S came out, we have held serve. What more do you want? I want to hold serve. I'm not saying that, I don't have a problem with Michigan winning football games. I don't know what this is. I don't know what that's supposed to be. That's most quarterback sneaks. Coach Moore can't do head coach and OC duties at the same time, affecting the play calling. I do think it's affecting the play calling to some degree. Y'all are panicking. You're thinking about last year's OSU. I'm not. So answer the question, Antoine. Do you think the other state can score 24 points? Straight up, yes or no? Michigan came out with the win. Stop ragging on JJ's performance last week. They did come out with the. What do Michigan fans want to hear? Right? I'm a Michigan fan. I've been a Michigan fan my entire life. I'm also a person who is firmly in reality, firmly 2 feet, 10 toes down in the real world. If JJ goes out here, has a game where he doesn't have have a touchdown, has thrown it to the other team, had 2 or 3 more throws that the other team could have caught, maybe should have caught, threw for less than 150 yards on 23 attempts, should I say he's doing well? What are y'all talking about? Is he Tom Brady? What do you want to hear, bro? He's the best ever? What are you saying? Like, stop ragging on JJ. Nobody's ragging on JJ. If you are listening with your ears, again, 10 toes down in reality, I said at the beginning of this broadcast or this live, whatever you want to call it, I said that last week isn't even JJ's fault. It was the play calling. He only had 8 bites at the apple. By the way, of those 8 bites at the apple, JJ completed 7 balls. No problem with that. What I did say is that performance knocked him down in the Heisman race for me, may have taken him out of other people's Heisman race, and then this week has removed him from the top 5 in terms of the Heisman conversation for me, which I'm sure he was probably already out of for other people. Simple as that. There is no reason to be saying don't rag on JJ. No one's ragging on JJ. I like JJ. JJ McCarthy is a good quarterback. JJ McCarthy can lead Michigan to the national championship. JJ McCarthy, in my opinion, will do just that. Not ragging, firmly set in reality. JJ was trash today without a question. Thank you. Thank the Lord. Somebody with eyes saw the game, period. Yes, we should be concerned, but Michigan won. Spread was 18 million. Not even talking about the spread. Didn't even mention the spread today because I'm not concerned about that. As Michigan fans, we shouldn't be concerned about the spread. It's all about these wins. JJ got the win. The Michigan won. That's all that matters. Jimmy is sorely missed. I agree with that. Some of these decisions, as I said, it's not necessarily, he won't be missed for necessarily the play calls, right? The on offense or defense. It's all about the continuity. It's about, like I said in the last live, getting on reps at certain moments of the game. It's all about situational football. Today, the situational football was less, or was suboptimal. Let me say that. It was less than the best it could be. That's it. Wasn't a fan of sitting Roman. Either he's concussed or not. If not, then play like everyone else. Well, I agree with that. If he wasn't concussed, then he should have been out there. Even if he never caught another pass, just his presence on the field matters. So I'm with you, Chase. If he's not concussed, he should have been playing. JK missed the deep ball to Johnson too. Should have had one touchdown. Yeah, I brought that up. I'm guessing you mean JJ, but yes, I brought that up. That was a bad throw. Simple as that. It was a suboptimal throw. It was less than the best it could have been. What about McCord looking trash every week except Michigan State? Delusional Buckeye fans. Yes, those fans are also delusional. By the way, I'm not saying Michigan fans are delusional. They're but Buckeye fans, that's a different case, a special case. They believe in the Honda McCord, and I want them to believe in the Honda McCord because he will be on the side of the road next week. This game seems scarier than the Illinois game last year. I agree with this. In the Illinois game, technically was closer, but this game did seem a little scarier. We needed a last-second field goal by Jake Moody last year against Illinois, but this one was a little different. Felt a little different in that second half. Clearly, JJ didn't have his go-to guy. Roman messed him up for the game. I believe that played a role for sure. Shout out to Mike Reesander still, aka the Haitian sensation. He should receive the Thorpe Award. Mike Sanders is absolutely in the conversation for the Thorpe Award, and he should be. He is Michigan's best secondary player this year. Will Johnson is my guy. I think Will Johnson is the most talented player in Michigan secondary, and when he is fully healthy and when he is at his best, he is the best player maybe on the entire defense. But Mike Sanders still plays with such heart. When Michigan needs a play on defense, it always seems to be him. So I agree with that sentiment 1,000%. Mike Sanders who wasn't a bad offensive player, he could still be a slot receiver and be doing well. He is not a bad offensive player, moved to defense and is performing like this. He's definitely in the Thorpe Award conversation. They have McCord and we have JJ. We'll be fine. I agree. I think I would take JJ 10 out of 10 times over the Honda McCord. The difference is, and hopefully Roman is healthy and can return next week. The difference is who they're throwing to. One guy is throwing to Maserati Marv, and he is a game wrecker. That said, give me JJ in Michigan 1,000% of the time. This time we keep Corum. Sanders still is effing incredible. Yes, he is. Will Johnson needs to snap out of this slump. He has Marv next week. Yeah. And look, maybe, and I'm not even gonna say, because these guys, this was the epitome of a trap game, right? We talked about this at the beginning of the year, where this game was positioned after Penn State, before the other state. This game had trap written all over it from the beginning of the year, and it really turned into that for Michigan. This was the epitome of a trap game, and Michigan, of course, avoids the trap. Just like last year, Illinois was a trap game. Michigan avoided that trap, and then they went and beat the brakes off of the other state. I expect much of the same next week. We already read that one. Should have stayed on the ground before the half and kicked the field goal, going for 2 points. We left 4 on the field. Bad coaching calls. Again, Joseph Hack hit it on the head. I spoke about this. It's the situational football is where Jim Harbaugh is missed the most. Shout out to Joseph. In those situations, Jim Harbaugh would have made the right decisions. That's it. I don't dislike Sharon Moore. I think Sharon Moore is doing a heck of a job, especially on the short notice that he's had. He's not been the head coach all season. He hasn't had these responsibilities all season, but in the throes of the moment, and he's been thrust into this situation, and he's performed well, just not as well as if Jim Harbaugh would have been on that sideline. Wallace got beat a few times. Yes, he did. One of those, he got mossed even. But I still like him. He does need to be better, though. Mikey was trying to build off Will on the sideline because he was down. I saw that as well. But Will will be fine. Graham and Grant are dogs. Facts. Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant are absolute game wreckers, and they are sophomores, I believe, right? Yes, sophomores. Next year and going forward, those two, they have first round picks written all over them. First of all, they are going to destroy football games for opponents for a long time. JJ looks nervous back there in the pocket. He doesn't trust his O line and pass protection. Here's another thing. This is a great point. And shout out to JJ. But if Carson Barnhart was protecting my blind side, I wouldn't be exactly I wouldn't feel great. Let me say that. No disrespect to Carson Barnhart, but disrespectfully, it's disrespectful to let people run by you the way that they're running by you. So Carson Barnhart needs to get better, or we need to figure something else out. Simple as that. What is your prediction for next week's game? Next week, I'll go ahead and give it. I think Michigan wins that game next week. I think it'll be a score of 38-24 because I think OSU can score 24 points, Antoine. 38-24 Michigan next week in A2. Our D front is outstanding. I agree with this 1,000%. Go blue to my guy, Sean Paul. A win is a win. Make some adjustments we made like we did after the Illinois game last year. Go play the game. Absolutely. I agree with that as well. Let's talk about some of the good things. Obviously, Michigan wins, moves to 11-0. They are on a heck of a winning streak inside the Big Ten. They have a long-standing home win streak. I think both of those, the home win streak might be tied for the lead in FBS, or at least in the Big Ten for sure. So Michigan is in great position. If they win this Saturday or next Saturday against the other state, this will be the second straight year that they've gone 12-0 in the regular season. Mikey Sainristil saved the day today. Absolutely. I brought that up. Mikey Sainristil definitely saved the day. He and Kenneth Grant. I got to give Kenneth Grant some of that credit because on two straight plays before that interception, Kenneth Grant was wreaking havoc. And even on the play where the interception was thrown, just the thought of Kenneth Grant being back in my face would have caused me to throw an ill-advised pass too. So there's that. What's El Hadi or whatever his name up to? It's worse than Barnhart. If you're worse than Barnhart, it's not great. But yeah, I think they actually ended up playing. Oh man, I forget, but he was pretty good. Like on the right side, he got called for a hold where he like actually pancaked someone and then let him up. He should never have let him up. Just lay on him. It's okay. He'll be fine. Can't win them all. Pretty facts. My guy, Boxing Maniac, who was at the game. I was supposed to be at that game. Last minute, I had to make some adjustments to the schedule. And I saw your photo there. It looked like you had a great time. Boxing Maniac, all the way from the Bronx, came down to Maryland to enjoy this game. Shout out to him. But for sure, offense wins games, defense wins championship. Bear Bryant, I agree with this. It is a little different though in 2023 with all the rules that have been put in place to stop the defense from defending the way that they were back in Bear Bryant's day for sure. But yeah, I think Henderson plays next week. I hope Henderson plays next week. And I hope Hinton is okay as well, because I would think about replacing Barnhart on the right side with Hinton if Hinton is healthy. Just my thoughts. Trente Jones, thank you. Trente Jones replaced Barnhart on the right side. They moved Barnhart from the right tackle to the left tackle. Trente Jones did a decent job while he was out there. I will give him that. Other than that hold where he pancaked the guy and should have just stayed on top of him. Pause. 52 needs to transfer to Colorado. Damn it. My guy, shout out to you, Boxing. Team up north isn't scoring more than 20 points next week. You got to chill, bro. We're scoring 38. 38 38-24 is my prediction. What's your prediction, Mello? What you think the score is going to be? And watch it because we will ban you today. Uh that being said, Michigan scoring 50. 50. Shout out to my guy Los Angeles, bro. Michigan drop a 50 burger on the other state. I want to hear nothing from any of them. I think Uncle T needs to buy me tickets and a flight to Ann Arbor next week. Shout out to Uncle T, who apparently was funding the espionage situation. At least that's according to the NCAA. Nobody's scoring 20. Both offensive has some struggles. Both can run and both have great defense. We win in 17-14, Michigan. Austin Hammonds think it's going to be a low score. He might be right. He might be right. Who has it better than us? Nobody. For sure. Go freaking blue. What's the score of this Ohio State game? Let me check that out. They already scored on Minnesota. Minnesota playing like Gophers. Getting scored on already. But yeah, so JJ better figure it out for Ohio State. Sharon Moore needs to find some guts to call better plays. I agree with all of this, if I'm being honest. You didn't tell any lies. Maryland is a heavy pass team. We have the run on lock. It took them a bit, but still ended up 2 picks, 2 safeties, and a scoop and score. Yeah, the defense played very well. Jesse Minter is doing an excellent job calling defense, and he's calling gems. I've said that before on multiple occasions. Mello, our D, is going to be in the backfield all day. 38-17, Big Blue. Shout out to my guy Bluntman. Believes in Michigan's ability to score points. I also believe in Michigan's ability to score points. I think Michigan will take care of business next week against the other state. A win's a win. We get healthy, let the playbook go. Yes. That is, yes. That was ugly, looking like OSU 55-34. Whoa, bro. It's not going to happen. 55-34. What are you doing? By the way, these last 3 games, one could argue that JJ has had his worst 3-game stretch as an individual during those last 3 games. Harry Canjones says OSU win. Harry, you're about to get blocked. This is nonsense you're spewing here. We don't do nonsense on this channel, Harry. This is not Buck Nuts or one of those Menace 2. What is that guy? That's nonsense you're talking. I really hope Michigan has 10-15 players that haven't been used for Ohio State, maybe halfback pass. Maybe I do think that they have plenty of players that haven't been called yet this season. Sorry, after watching this game, OSU Buckeyes, Ohio, the other state, because I'm going to be favor, and sorry they do because Michigan struggled with Maryland, Ohio State blowing out Minnesota, clicking better on offense. Philip Cribbs, you are clearly a Buckeyes fan. Is this? And I disagree with you, Mr. Cribbs, because there is a third baseman, professional third baseman, running that team, and he is terrified of Michigan. We're going to wipe the floor with those guys. Check when the last time JJ threw a touchdown pass. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. JJ, I'm not even going to get into it. At Blunt, Mello is yawning. I love the Ohio State fans. Their fandom has grown very confident over the last couple weeks, and it's going to be beautiful when they fall on their faces again. But I digress. We've been saving plays all season, playing vanilla next week. We're unleashing playbook, a lot of misdirection plays, deep shots. I feel it. JJ, 275 yards next week. I definitely think, and I said this multiple times now, that they have been saving plays. At this point, I put Sanders still on Harrison Jr. I wouldn't do that. Mikey is still diminutive compared to Harrison. He may end up on him a couple times for sure, but Will Johnson still Will Johnson. Well, I want to be very clear. He didn't have his best stuff today, but he is still who he is. His name is his name. Facts. Your tackles can't protect. JJ's out of rhythm because of the last 2 weeks. Michigan is trending down while OSU is peaking. Only edge you have right now is special teams. Oh my God, he said that with such fervor and confidence. That is a horrible take. Yeah, Will Johnson was burnt on that on at least one touchdown today. Actually, that ended up not being a touchdown, but try again. He was burnt today. I tweeted that as well. Sorry, I'm a Michigan Wolverine fan, but I'm not in denial like the rest of Michigan Wolverine fans, and I see Michigan weakness, their offensive line. Denial is strong. I wouldn't call myself in denial, by the way. That said, Michigan has looked not the best these last couple of weeks, but I still think against the other state, they get up for that game. They play that game with the determination and heart that they've played it with the last couple seasons and get one for Coach Harbaugh. The Buckeyes have literally run plays and screens. What do you mean? They're clicking today hilariously. Love McCord when he throws 3 picks next week. Yeah. Congratulations to the team and staff. 11-0, 1,000th win in program history. Go Blue. Shout out to Terrence. Absolutely, go Blue. Austin Hammonds, y'all scared to throw the ball versus Penn State and Maryland, but you're going to unleash on Ohio State. Yeah, we're going to punish them. Whatever it takes for them to just take this L. We'll bite you, cut you, run on you, pass on you, whatever it takes. Pretty worried about JJ making plays. You know, the run game isn't that great this year. And the other state might not have to sell out like they did last year. I doubt that seriously. I think the other state's defense is better. I've said that. I said that to begin this. However, when those guys, by the way, we didn't have our full complement of offensive linemen. Ladarius Henderson did not play today. Obviously, Hinton left the game, which is why Carson Barnhart was on the left side playing tackle, why he was out there looking like a matador in the Ole offensive line play he was giving us today at left tackle. But I don't believe that will be the case next week. He obviously will not be there. Ladarius Henderson should be back. Hinton hopefully is back, and that will be the difference, at least in the offensive line play. We just read this one. We ran for 275 on the best rush defense in the country. What are we talking about? Ground game not clicking. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about either. 275 on the best run defense in college football. Michigan is going to be okay. Trust me. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Be sure to share the stream. We'll be on for about another 10 minutes. Get your comments in if you haven't already. My guy Moose is in the building. 1,000. Woo! Speaking of 1,000 wins, we didn't properly celebrate this. Let's go ahead and call my guy in. On the best there is. Woo! 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 1,000 wins is a massive deal in Michigan, the first to do it, the only school to do it to this point. Huge deal. Shout out to the Wolverines. I think Buckeyes will blow Michigan out. This is Jenny Gang. I see our defense finally laying an egg and getting burned. I mean, we gave up all those yards and points to Maryland. Bart. OL. LOL. No. In fact, this was not the truth.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
That's nonsense. We don't do nonsense on this channel. That's strike one. You're on your way to getting blocked. That was nonsense. The game plan they called last week was totally different than what they did today. Coaches deserve the benefit of the doubt that they'll have an adequate game plan next week. Again, I said that they have not, or that they have been holding back plays for the other state. I believe that 1,000%. Whether or not they deserve the benefit of the doubt, I mean, I don't know. Sure, it was different than it was last week. Last week wasn't spectacular on offense, by the way. I digress. I think the next practice for Michigan should be nothing but pass plays. They own the gaps on both sides of the ball. Offense can get better at pass pro and defense on coverage. I think the defense is fine. I don't expect, to give up 400 yards passing or anything like that. At Maize Madman, get ready to say your catchphrase a whole lot next Saturday. Well, I'm going to say it right now because I'm upset that you're posting this nonsense. I admit I'm worried as a Michigan fan because JJ been playing horrible these last two games, and also the offensive line hasn't been playing well, and Ohio State can exploit those two weaknesses.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
JJ didn't play horrible against Penn State. JJ just didn't have the opportunity to play against Penn State. If we're being honest, he threw the ball 8 times. He completed 7 of those 8 passes. That's not bad. You cannot be bad if you complete more. Like, he wasn't bad against Penn State. The play calling was the play calling. That's that. Now, against Maryland, I will acquiesce to what you said. He was suboptimal against Maryland. He did not look great. Absolutely. But against Penn State, he threw the ball 8 times. The entire game. 4 quarters of football, he threw it 8 times. That's the difference. Not pretty, but our D-line came through when needed. Absolutely. By the way, this is another reason. What he is saying is another reason that the other state has no shot. Want to speak about porous offensive line play? Look no further than our friends to the south and that vile, disgusting cesspool that is Columbus. They don't have world beaters at offensive tackle. That offensive line is going to get dominated next week by Michigan's defensive line. Book it. What happened to Wilson? He took a big hit. He never returned to the game. I don't know if he's concussed or what, but that's that. I did not see a lot of play action this week. I bet we see much more of that. Thank you, Mike. There was not a lot of play action this week. We know how JJ is with play action passes. In fact, I think he's the best in the country in the play action. So, nope, we're saving all the screenplays for Ohio State. Maybe. The other state was losing to Rutgers at half 2 weeks ago and took a pick 6 to really change the game. When was the last time Michigan was losing at half? That's true. The other state was losing to Rutgers. I don't think that was last week. That was a couple weeks ago now, though. And it took a pick 6 to turn that thing around for them. Maryland literally had nothing to lose today. 3rd straight year of bowl eligibility. We had much higher goals today. That's a fact. Why would Bryce Underwood come play for a team where a generational quarterback gets held back in such a big game as Penn State? I explained this last week, by the way. Carson Barnhart was not good in that game. One of the hits that JJ took, he came up limp after. I'm pretty sure they wanted to protect the quarterback in that game, and Penn State didn't offer much resistance to having the ball ran down their throat. Pause 32 times. That's that. Why are the games before Ohio State for the past two really close? Is Ohio and other schools giving our signs to the teams played that day? Just feels weird. I think the more likely proposition is that Michigan is holding back offensively in the weeks leading up to that game to not give anything away. That's my personal opinion. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. That said, I will be getting out of here. We're going to watch some more football. I'll be back with you guys later this evening. We'll talk some more about it. Get your questions ready. Till next time, stay angry, my friends. I'm upset. If you're a Michigan fan, you're not a real fan. Everyone had a bad game. Just relax. Well, I disagree that you're not a real fan if you're worried. People can be worried. But I'm upset. I'm getting out of here.